Hi, my name is Bob Downey. I'm recording a mock interview, really focusing on behavioral interviewing questions using the STAR method to respond to them. So I'm going to start with question number one, which is tell me about yourself. Well, my name is Bob Downey. I work at Delta Faucet Company. I am currently a national sales and account manager. I have 3 little girls and a wife, and we live in the suburbs of Chicago, roughly about 60 miles west of the Chicagoland area. Question number 2 is tell me about your past work experience. Well, I've been with Delta for a little over 8 years, and while I've been at Delta, I've taken on a number of different roles and different tasks. Some of these include starting as a territory manager, where I covered really as a frontline salesperson the Chicagoland area. After a couple of years of that, moving up to a regional sales manager role, which meant that I covered a larger portion within the country, specifically the Midwest portion. And I had some direct reports reporting now to me, where I worked to coach, mentor, train, and evaluate them, and really hold them accountable for growing the business and meeting goals. From that point on, moved on to my current position, which is the National Sales and Account Manager position. In this role, I handle our largest accounts throughout the country, specifically the top 3 accounts, and really spend time focusing on creating strategies, working with different policies, programs, different ways to grow that business, strengthen the relationship, and then work both with our sales managers and our field sales staff to carry out on those strategies. The next question is describe a time when you worked well on a team. I will put out there a project that I was part of, which was really creating a whole new segment of business for our organization. And as a manufacturer, historically, we don't sell direct with our plumbing products. In the plumbing industry, it's not something that you do. You sell through either wholesale, which is what we call the trade side of the business, or through retail. And what we looked to do was help create some additional brand awareness about who we are, where we're going, and who we want to be. And that's with innovation within our products. And the best way to do that was really spend some time wowing the consumers, and we wanted to really touch base with them on a one-by-one level, being that we're kind of remote by selling two-step. And so what we did is we put together a strategy of creating a retail showroom store. This store would basically be something that we own, we manage, we run, with our products that we sell basically directly to the consumers, and ultimately have that interaction, have that ability to wow them with our brand, our innovation, and our service. And we took a lot of different actions as a team to make this happen, meaning we had to work internally at each different department as far as creating a whole new segment of business, from IT to how we set up our systems internally to process a customer point of sale order, all the way through to additional website for consumer-facing website portal, and ultimately then working with marketing to create a whole new brand strategy for the segment and create a new, I guess you'd say, strategy and marketing plan for year 1, 2, and 3 of how we want to go after to create the brand awareness of this new venture, and then ultimately with sales and with executive leadership to discuss where we are on a routine basis, meaning from budgeting, the cost involved, expectations, to forecasting, to on a routine basis after the fact, going back and taking a look at what are those results? Are we meeting expectations? Are we achieving the goals we set out to achieve? Where do we stand versus those goals? The next question is tell me about a time when you had too many things to do and had to prioritize your tasks. I'll actually use that same example because while all that was going on in that project, I still was a regional sales manager covering the Midwest part of the country, and still had people reporting to me, customers that I had to call on and work with and create strategies to grow the business with. And the big thing when you look at a to-do list is really setting expectations both to the people around you, to the teammates that you work with, all around, whether it's internal or external, to really set those expectations so that they're aware of when you're going to be able to get to something and where they're going to be able to respond. So I would tell you the best thing that I did to help prioritize some of my tasks was ultimately look at what was important to executive team management, what was important to our customers, what was something that we could do in a realistic time frame, but then in addition to that, what else could be delegated down to additional team members where they can take a look at getting those projects achieved. The next question is, tell me about a time when you had to go above and beyond the call of duty, and how did you handle the situation? It's something that takes place on a routine basis. I travel a lot for work. I get involved in a lot of different trade shows, a lot of different scenarios, and the best situation that I'm thinking of is ultimately we had a very, I'd say, loyal customer who ran into some personal sickness issues, and one of the things that I wanted to do was to outside of that work relationship, really spend the time to just make sure they understood we were there for them as a family as well. And spent a lot of time with them during the process of going through rehab and surgery, and it was something that took a great deal of time. And not to get too personally into what this person was going through, some of the things that we had to do above and beyond was not discuss work, but I flew out there across the country to be there, just to visit and say hi, make sure things were going well, see what else can be done personally to make their life a little bit easier during this situation. As far as the end result of it, ultimately, it worked out well. They came through, made it through without any issues, without any concerns, and it made us realize again that there's more to work every single day. So the next question is, tell me about a time when you worked effectively under pressure. Again, that's a daily occurrence. I will tell you that the world we live in today creates that pressure. The reason for it is because of technology. When you start adding in email, instant connection and communication via smartphone, whether it's texting, whether it's email, whether it's phone calls, the expectations are extremely high for customers that they're expecting a immediate response. And so one of the things that I would say recently that came up around those scenarios was actually this week I'm gone all week at a trade show, and for one of our customers, one of our largest customers, but one of our other customers had a fire that came up, as far, not a true fire, an urgent issue that had to be addressed. And so one of the things that I did was first clarify the situation, understand what was taking place, what happened, who was involved, who needed to be involved on our side internally as far as customer service, and really our shipping department, and ultimately during my lunch period, spend the time to make sure that we could work through connecting the dots so that we can come back to what might have happened, what should have happened, what needs to happen moving forward, setting a guideline of steps that need to be followed moving forward, the what's, the how's, the when's, creating a timeline, and then setting a follow-up date to get back to them to make sure that those steps were taken. I think the result will be that they appreciate that we went above and beyond for service and didn't just kind of come back to them saying, well, mistakes happen. Next question is an example of a time when you showed initiative. I know I've used it before, but that initial example of creating that new segment of business, the reason for that is it's extremely something I'm extremely proud of. Ultimately, it was a whole new segment of business, and the history behind that is, as an organization, when I started with my company, I suggested us doing that for about 2 to 3 years and really got nowhere. And it took some time putting together a full business case scenario. What is the cost going to be involved? What can we expect as far as the return? Why do we need this? What impact is it going to have? and what are all the deliverables. And when the day was said and done, I set a specific meeting with our president and said, I want to come in and talk to you about something completely different, but I need you to have an open mind and take a look at creating a whole new way, of looking at how we go to market. And so that hasn't been done in the past in a big corporate structure. It's not easy when we're a billion-dollar company to take those steps and go through those stages, if you will. So the next question is there anything else you would like us to know about you? I've spent a great deal of time trying to continue to better myself, learn every day. I'm not perfect, but one thing that I do want to do is continue to grow. So whether it is reanalyzing my presentations and things that took place to how can I better that situation moving forward and continue to improve upon my skill set, all the way to 2009 winning an award from the city of Chicago and receiving a proclamation award from the mayor about my involvement in the real estate industry, to something that is kind of private, which is an issue of personal issue, which is just I'm a published author. I won Amateur Poet of the Year in 2006. Really didn't do a whole lot of writing most of my life before that point, and just ultimately, as growing up as a musician, looked for some sort of outlet and just started writing, and was published and won an award, and really haven't written much of anything since. It was just something that was kind of neat to do, and that's it. Thank you.